Hey guys, this is Matt and Daddy Duck 365. Thanks for coming back. Hey, listen, do you ever sit there after the duck season and wonder, maybe after the duck season or maybe even before the duck season, you wonder, do I really count when it comes to conservation organizations? Does my $45, $50, $65 a year, does it really matter? Does my being a member, does it really matter if I'm a member of these organizations? I think it does. And let me explain. How many are out there of DU members? How many of y'all are active DU members? And what I mean by that, you're active volunteers. You go out on maybe one weekend a month and do something with Delta DU. How about Delta? Are you a member of Delta? Do you actively go out and help Delta count birds? You know? What if you don't? Does it really matter? Again, I think it does. And it matters in the numbers. You see, these organizations, these national organizations, they need members. They need membership. And the way what I'm saying, they need I mean, what is $65 a year really going to do from one person? Well, you put a whole bunch of people together, it comes up to a lot of money, of course. But just the membership, that's what counts. That's what really counts. You see, when they go out to go do things and they need to talk to politicians, they need to talk to a politician about the migratory bird treaty. We're using that for an example. And they say, well, we have X amount of members and we need, these members this is their issue and we need to solve this issue. Well, the politician's going to look at those numbers. They're going to look at the number of members that they have. And they're going to say, well, that's a lot of people. Then they're also going to come out with a little cost analysis kind of thing going on. And it's basically taxes. What you spend to go duck hunting for just one day or 30 days or 60 days, depending on how long your season is. So they look at all these numbers, and that's how they get things accomplished with not only just politicians, but with landowners and land managers. The different states and the DNR, they're different DNRs, the Department of Natural Resources, all over the country. And yes, it does matter. And I think every one of us as duck hunters need to be a member of, if not both of those organizations, if nothing else, but just for that number. You can be a full-time volunteer or a part-time volunteer, an active volunteer. That's all well and good. You've got the time, but not all of us have that time. And some of us just, we work 6-7 days a week sometimes. We take our vacations during the duck season. And we just don't have that time. So, we can't do all this volunteer work, helping them clear land or build wood duck boxes or build mallard hen nesting structures. We just don't have the time. But there's something else I want you to think about, and that's the grassroots organizations. These are more state specific, and there's a lot of good organizations out there across the country. We're going to talk a little bit about my home state of South Carolina, and one organization in particular is the Carolina Wildlife Syndicate. Now, they're a Facebook group only, but it's filled with guys who are just like me, just duck hunters, to guys who have worked in the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, guys that have worked U.S. Fish and Game, U.S. Forestry Department, State Forestry Commission, and others and other organizations. They've either worked or are working or past work, and so they know all these people that they need to talk to. So when we come to an issue, And let's take, for example, moist soil. Okay, we want to get more moist soil on our public duck hunting grounds. Well, they are actively pursuing that, and where they'll go and they'll contact the right people, whether it be a politician, whether it be the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, whether it be Santee Cooper. They will contact them and hold meetings with them. They try to do these meetings on a weekly basis, as long as the agency has the time and the scheduling. Everybody's got to work, right? So if they can schedule it out, they try to meet or contact with them weekly, depending on agency schedules, and that's a good thing. And there's some, and they're not just for waterfowl either now. So I know this is a waterfowl channel, but they're not just for waterfowl. They're helping out all the wildlife that are in our state, whether it be waterfowl, when the ducks winter here, white-tailed deer, to bobwhite quail, to turkeys, even the fisheries, and even control burnings on certain state properties and federal properties to enhance those areas through proper burning, so better vegetation grows up for, let's say, for nesting sites for the wild turkey and for bobwhite quail. So they're all involved in this. And yeah, one week they're working on one thing and the next week they're working on something else. They can't devote 100%, but they do devote all their time on one of those activities. And it's a grassroots organization. It's a Facebook group. Doesn't cost you anything to join. Now, I will say that they are, this is a very conservation-minded group of people. This is not the Facebook group that you would go to post your pictures of dead ducks. You don't go there to post a picture of your boat or your dog or anything like that. Like one post I saw where a guy posted a mud motor prop and said, "Hey, I just bought this prop. What kind of motor do I put on it?" No, that's not that kind of a place. It's strictly conservation, and these guys are serious about it. They're really serious about it. Trust me, from personal experience. They're a good group of guys, and they have really good conversations. And it's not a place to go there and start a bunch of shenanigans either. This is a place for like-minded people, thorough, just 100% conservationists, whether it be with waterfowl or deer, like I said, turkeys or bobwhite quail, doesn't matter. As long as it's conservation-minded, that's the kind of conversation you can have with these guys. And you can do, like I said, you don't have to be an active volunteer. They do they'll go out into the state forest and they do trash pickup. Well, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But what I'm trying to tell you is, it's the number that counts. It's your name on the roll. As of today, I believe they got 6,744 members. So when they go and talk to somebody, they say, "Hey, I've got 6,744 members who say this is an issue. We need to look at it." Well, the person they're talking to is saying, "Oh, really? 6,742 people. That's a lot of people on one group to say we have an issue." They're going to take notice of that, and they're going to start, that's that help them start doing something, and that's why it's so important to be a member, even if it's just a non-active member of a group, whether it be a national group such as DU and Delta, or a grassroots organization like we have here in South Carolina, the CWS. It helps. It really, really does help. Now, there are all kind of other grassroots organizations all over the country. We're going to talk about those at a little time, but today we're just kind of hit some highlights of what the CWS has done. Now, they've been in operation now for going on 3 years. I think in April, the first part of April, they'll actually have a 3 years. And so far, they've been working with Santee Cooper on, this is our local lake, about putting in more moist soil components to our lakes and river systems. Now, this is hard to do if you can't control the water. We all know that. But on low water years, and especially in the summers when the water gets really low, they're trying to get a thing started either with volunteers of duck hunters or Santee Cooper themselves going out planting this moist soil, whether it be like smartweed or maybe some springletop, or as most people call it, barnyard grass, or maybe doing something of that nature in the public areas, while the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources are working on what we call the Category 1 waterfowl impoundments. So they can control the water a little bit better over there, and then they'll go in there and they'll do their thing. You know, they'll till it up and get that moist soil, grasses starting to grow in and whatnot. And they're working with these agencies as we speak. This is going on right now. They've also, many years ago, we had hydrilla in our lake, and I hate to say it, but I loved it because a lot of the ducks, they were eating it. Your gadwall and your widgeon and your divers, you know, they were eating that stuff, and we were having a great time. But it took over the lake, and it really started spreading so bad that it started affecting some of the homeowners, and I think it actually started affecting some of the turbines on the dams to produce electricity. So they introduced a grass-eating carp into the lake system, and it was very dramatic. I mean, they just were pouring in these carp. Well, now we have like no submerged aquatic vegetation anymore. I mean, and what little we do have is very little of what we do have. Well, they have worked with Santee Cooper and helping reduce that by 50%. And that's coming into effect very, very soon. I think they're doing some final stages with it now, but they're going to reduce that number that they stock these carp by 50%. Well, that's a win for us because that's going to help these the submerged aquatic vegetation, SAV rather. That's going to help them, and that vegetation is going to grow up. And that's going to be good for our ducks. That's going to be good for the divers. It's going to be, and even some of the ringnecks and the gadwall and the widgeon and like I know I don't hunt coots. I don't shoot coots. But this last season, I saw very little coots. So this brings all this wildlife back in. Plus, this vegetation also helps with the fisheries. You know, if you have a barren lake and all you have is stumps, the fish can't really hide from other predators such as the dreaded cormorant. Now we know they can eat their weight 2 or 3 times over in small fish. So they're killing our fishery. Well, the fish have no place to hide. So with this grass, this submerged grass, they'll have a place to hide and get away from these predators, hide from the predators. And that's a good thing. And of course it does help our waterfowl. They were also able to, oh, by the way, that was, they had like a 10% on the SAV. You know, they would allow 10% to grow in the lake. They've actually got it up, they're getting it up to 15%. So, you know, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. And they're trying to get rid of the unwanted vegetation, such as the water hyacinth. And now we're starting to see the giant, I hope I pronounce this correctly, guys. If I don't, I apologize. Giant savannah or savanna. This is starting to take over some of our shallower water marshes. in areas where I'd really like to hunt, and I have a hard time getting. This past duck season it was covered. One of my favorite holes is just covered in this stuff. Now I'm quite sure there's some little aquatic bugs and leeches and whatnot the ducks will feed on that are still there, but it will suck the life out of that place as far as oxygen in the water, and no fish will live in there. You may have some little bugs and stuff, and that's about it. Okay, but no minnows and no fish can grow in there, so that's bad news. We need to get that out, and we're working on that. I say we because I am a member of the Carolina Wildlife Syndicate, so I can say we. And they're working really hard and diligent to try to get this eradicated through a number of processes, whether it be chemical or actual harvesters. I've read where they are trying to talk to them about getting some of these big boat harvesters like you may see down in Florida. I think there was a video out here a while back. I'll see if I can find it and link a description. But it was a really, really, really good thing that they're doing down in Florida, and they're going to try to talk to them about that. So does your membership really matter? And I'm going to sit here and tell you yes. You may not think it does. In the short term, you may not, oh man, I'm just spending another $50. Well, you're not spending that with the CWS. It's free. All you gotta do is join their Facebook. Like I said, it's a no nonsense place, man. It's really no nonsense, and it's a great group of guys. And we do have some spirited conversations on certain things, but it doesn't get out of hand. There's no name calling. Nobody's going to get upset. Nobody's going to jump up and down and have what we like to call conniption fits. What we're going to do is discuss it and work on it and try to get this resolved, because we have a lot of issues in South Carolina. Just like everywhere else, we have a lot of issues, and issues that can be fixed, such as food. Food can be fixed. We can get more natural foods in our lakes and river systems. That can be fixed. Pressure can be fixed. Can't change weather. Cannot change that. The weather's going to be weather, no matter what you do. There's nothing you can do about that. Anyway, join the CWS. I'll link a description to their Facebook page down below. Of course, always, if you like this kind of content, please do me a favor. Help me out, guys. Help me to help you. I want to bring more of these type of videos to you. So help me out. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button. Comment down below. Tell me what you want to see as far as conservation goes. Do you want to build some wood duck boxes? Do you want to build a mallard nesting platform? Let me know what you want to do. We'll see if we can't get it done. In the meantime, I'm Matt. This is Daddy Duck 365, and we will see you next time.